Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and I was just catching up with all the news regarding this snowpocalypse in Texas. You know, cold weather in a region where people are just not used to that, and all the mess that causes, you know, burst pipes, powers down, and just people are not ready for that. People that live in more traditionally cold climate regions, they are a bit better prepared for that, or a lot more prepared for it. But when it happens in places where people are not used to it, well, we've seen even, you know, several dead already, and, you know, folks don't have heating, there's power has gone down, and those that have power, the bills have gone up 10,000%. Don't quite understand how that's possible, but 10,000% increase in your power bill, that's gonna be, yeah, no joke. Anyway, one of the things I've always recommended over the years is to have a kerosene heater, and some of you guys may be familiar with these, some of you may not. I mean, to be honest, until I was pretty old, I was not familiar with them. I just had no idea. I mean, I knew about several other alternative forms of heating, and more traditional, you know, like a wood stove or something like that would be the prepper version of it. But these are fantastic, and for those of you that are not familiar with it, you know, a quick introduction to these. Basically, they work with kerosene. You fill it here with a tank, and you have a round wick. This is technology that has been around forever. I mean, this is as old as it gets. You have convection heaters, which this would be one of the convection ones. You have the radiant heaters. They're a little bit more modern. They have like a glass element that starts radiating heat. It gets all red. It uses the same fuel, but it kinds of a different mechanic in which it ends up being used. So the radiant heater is nice. It projects heat a lot better in one direction. Those are quite nice. This one is a convection heater, but a more modern, unlike the Valor ones or some of the older heaters. This one is a Kerosene moonlighter, kind of a collector's heater for freaks that actually collect heaters, and I'm including myself in that group, even though I don't have that many anymore. I just have two of these, and actually two Kerosenes. I have this one, which is a moonlighter, and I have a radiant heater. Is it a Kerosene or is it a Corona? I think it's probably a Corona. Anyway, the moonlighter is more of a collectible because it's very well made. These are made in Japan. For you guys that are not familiar with this, in Japan they use this for heating. You know, in spite of all the modern tech they manage to create for heating in apartments, they use kerosene heaters. It's simple, it just works for them, they're used to it, it's part of their culture. They have some that are a little bit more modern and are electric, but these are still fairly popular, and you can find them all over. So very well made, nice little details. For example, once it's being used, it has like a level on the side. So you see that, and once you move it or you shake it a little bit too much, it has a mechanism, and you see that little weight there, it has a mechanism by which it automatically turns it off in case it's caught during an earthquake. You know, nice little quality craftsmanship details. So you fill it up, you let the wick get wet with kerosene, and you turn it on. And this one in particular, what I like about it is that many of the modern heaters just, you know, produce heat. This one is pretty bright, and it has this glass element, and it projects a lot of that light, about 300 lumens worth of light, which is decent if you don't have any. And besides that, on top you have those holes as to use this for cooking. So for heating water, for cooking something, it's not, you know, as good as having, you know, propane gas or your natural gas or anything like that, but it's still good enough, and you can actually cook food. And you put it there. I think that in some previous video many years ago, I tested it, and maybe 10-15 minutes, I don't remember exactly, but anyway, this is going to be lasting you with a full tank about 10 hours, give or take, if I'm remembering correctly, and that's going to be plenty of time so as to take advantage of that heat that you're anyway making and you're using and cooking. From a survival and prepper point of view, the beauty about these things is that you do several important things. You're heating, which is the main thing. You know, you're heating, you're having light light, which is one of those things you also want to have during a power outage, and you're able to cook. So those basic needs for which you're using power anyway, you're covering all of these with a very simple element, with a very simple a gadget that it's pretty much bomb proof. It's very simple in the construction. Sure, it has some little details that you need to know about, like the kind of wick that you're using, if it's cotton or if it's fiberglass. I am using a fiberglass wick right now, and this one, it's just a bit more durable. So and that you're not supposed to let the wick that's made of cotton to burn dry, because it's actually going to be burning the cotton. With the fiberglass ones, that's not a problem because fiberglass will not burn, so it just burns itself clean, which is something that you actually have to do about once a week with these if you're using these 24/7. If not, it's just every once in a while. So what I did now is I put a little bit of kerosene. I'm going to be letting the wick get wet for about an hour, and then I'll turn it on and let you guys see how this thing actually works. So it has also a power a box over there. You see that little box, the battery box over there? And with this button, it has like an element that will glow, will burn, and you push this forward, and with those batteries you can turn it on. But you can also use a match, which I find it to be a bit more practical and not bother with that at all. Anyway, I'll let it get wet and turn it on for you guys to see how it works. And maybe consider buying one of these if you are in a cold climate region, or even if you're not, you just never know. Look at what happened in Texas. Consider buying one of these. I'll leave a couple links below if I find it, which I don't think I will, but if I find some of these available in Amazon, or the copycat version of the Moonlighter, which I've had found in the past, I leave the link below there in Amazon for you guys to pick it up. So this is the kerosene lighter burning, and this is the what was it, the rainbow model somewhere here. Light is actually so bright. The Moonlighter model, right? Moonlighter model. So yeah, it has a pretty decent light. As I was saying before, about 300 lumens. That's nice. As you see, you can, and imagine having this when there's a blackout, when there's no light around you. I can actually see within this room quite decently so, and it's just pleasant. It's nice. It's like having a little fireplace without the mess of having a fire. Smell just a tad of a bit. This one burns very clean. I don't feel any smell at all right now with it. But some folks want to turn it on outside, let it warm a little bit. Especially when you turn it off, that's when it stays hot for a few minutes, and it keeps evaporating the fuel. So when you turn it off, you probably want to turn it off outside and let it cool for a couple minutes. Turning it on inside is not going to be that big of a deal, but some people prefer to do that as well. Anyway, for something like what people are seeing in Texas, this is a must-have item in your survival preparedness plan. Guys, even if you don't live in a cold climate region, I'm in shorts right now. This is hot for me, and I'm in the middle of winter, but very close to the equator, so it's a very hot climate in spite of being in winter. I still have a couple of these, and I don't plan on getting rid of these, because if whatever happens, like a polar vortex or something like what you see in Texas, this is simple, this is reliable, this works, and this lasts for years. I'm just using some fuel that I had here from like 4 or 5 years ago. I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. Unlike a generator that you have to constantly care for, this is gonna be reliable, and this you can keep it, in an apartment building. Kerosene does not burn like gasoline. It's like oil. It's like you're cooking oil. It's not going to be burning without a wick, so it's super safe. These ones in particular are even more safe, but the system entirely on its own, it's very safe. And most models have a tilt-off mechanism of some kind. So you can have this very cheap. I'll leave the links for Amazon in case you find it. I guess with everything going on in Texas, it's kind of unlikely, but check it out just in case. This is the kind of thing you leave in a closet and years go by, and when something goes wrong, you have it. You can depend on it. You can be warm when everyone is freezing. It's silence as well. No one is hearing a generator burning all day long, and it's so much more efficient. It just focuses on the basics of what you want in terms of survival. It's keeping you warm, you know. In this model in particular, it's giving you light, and it's giving you the option of cooking. It's basically the same that you get from a fireplace, just a lot more efficient, just a lot more simple, and trouble-free. A wood-burning stove, by all means, those are fantastic. I love it. I have my fireplace with a built-in unit. It's great, but that's expensive, and not everyone has that. And if you want something simple and cheap and reliable, this is it, guys. There's nothing that comes even close to the simplicity and reliability of a kerosene heater, especially a good one like this one. In terms of efficiency, I think that it's like 3 liters is going to be lasting you for like 10 hours, something like that. It's ridiculous how efficient these things are. Nothing compared to the crappy efficiency of a gasoline generator. Not even close. And especially for a gasoline generator, you have to convert that to what? To heat with a gasoline generator. It's super inefficient cooking with it as well. This just makes a lot more efficient use of that. Now, one thing, warning, keep in mind, you need a carbon monoxide detector just in case, and you should have a little bit of ventilation. Just crack a window in that room. If you're in a and it happened to me in a winter in a snowstorm, we went without power. We all huddled in like a room, and that's kind of the thing you would be doing with something like this in some extreme low temperature condition, maybe huddling in a room or just a section of the house. If it's a small apartment, maybe you would have this in a living room, and you have enough ventilation just in case. Cracking the window or door a little bit, and that carbon monoxide detector, that's definitely something you want to get. So I'll leave the link for that as well in any case. That's something that's pretty much mandatory no matter if you have this or not, but just it's even more so when you have a flame burning indoors without exterior ventilation. Other than that, guys, I particularly like it a lot. I actually turn it on even when I don't have to, and that's just me. That's my thing. For turning it off, taking it outside, you turn it off, let it cool for a few minutes, and that's it. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this little video. Take care, folks out there, especially you guys in Texas. All the best wishes, and hope you get through that. See you in our next video. Have an awesome day.